Looks awful, right? This is an iPhone on a gimbal with open gate on. After a month of testing this setup, an iPhone in a 58mm case, variable ND, plus 100 grams of SmallRig weight on a DSLR gimbal, we figured out why these shots shake so much. In this video, we'll show you what OpenGate is really for and the settings we now use for smooth, stable iPhone video. We're using a 58mm lens case, so we can screw on a variable ND filter. You can use any ND you already own. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it makes a big difference. On a bright day, without ND, the iPhone has to crank the shutter speed really high to avoid overexposure. That gives you choppy video game motion. With an ND in front of the lens, we can keep the shutter around double the frame rate, the classic 180-degree rule, so motion blur looks natural when walking. Just don't overdo it. Variable ND filters are basically two polarizers. If you twist them too far, you get that ugly X-shaped dark cross across the frame. So when you're dialing exposure, stop before you see the X appear. If you need more reduction than that, grab a stronger ND instead of forcing the variable. It's better to use a fixed ND though. Everything, including the sky, will look better. For stabilization, we went with a small crane M2S, which is designed for lightweight mirrorless cameras. The problem is, an iPhone on its own is too light for a DSLR-style gimbal. That's why we added about 100 grams of SmallRig counterweight on the back. The goal is to get the center of gravity closer to where the gimbal expects a heavier camera to sit. It does work, but it's fiddly. You have to balance each axis carefully. First the tilt so the phone doesn't roll forward or back. Then the roll axis so it doesn't fall to one side. And finally the pan axis. Compared to a dedicated phone gimbal, this takes more time and a bit of patience. A smaller phone gimbal is definitely more convenient, but we wanted to see if this heavier DSLR-style setup could give us an even smoother result. And when we're not using OpenGate and iPhone stabilization is on, this setup actually gives very smooth walking shots. So what is OpenGate and why is everyone suddenly talking about it? The term comes from cinema cameras. The gate is the window that exposes the sensor. Shooting OpenGate means the camera records the entire sensor, not just a cropped 16:9 slice. On the iPhone, that usually means a more square, 4 to 3-ish frame. For example, around 1920 by 1440, or higher, depending on the app and model. The idea is great. You shoot once using the full sensor, and later you can crop a vertical version for Reels and Shorts and a horizontal version for YouTube from the same clip, instead of shooting twice. In theory, combined with ProRes or Apple Log, OpenGate is perfect if you want maximum flexibility for reframing and color grading. On paper, it sounds like a dream. In practice, even on the latest iPhone Pro, there are some big trade-offs nobody mentions in the promo videos. On this iPhone 16 Pro, in the apps we're using, OpenGate is limited to Rec 709, no log curve, no Apple Log 2, so already we lose some grading flexibility. And because the phone is reading more of the sensor at once, some of the usual computational tricks, like heavy denoising and electronic stabilization, simply don't kick in the same way. Let's look at what actually happens when you walk with OpenGate. First, we tried handheld OpenGate. No surprise, it's shaky, there's a bit of jello from the rolling shutter, and it just doesn't look cinematic. Then we put the phone back on the Crane M2S. It's better than handheld, but you can still see this weird wobble, that classic rolling shutter bend when the phone moves. To check if it was just this gimbal, we repeated the test on a bigger DJI Ronin. Heavier, more powerful motors. The footage was only marginally improved. The wobble never really goes away. Meanwhile, here's the same walk with the DJI Pocket 3. Built-in gimbal, normal 16:9 video, stabilization working as designed, and the result is butter smooth. So it's not that the crane or the Ronin can't stabilize. The real issue is that in many apps, OpenGate either turns off or severely limits electronic stabilization, and you're leaving the full sensor readout to fight with rolling shutter on a tiny phone sensor. We've been testing this for over a month, trying different combinations, and after finishing our own tests, we noticed other filmmakers online complaining about the same thing. OpenGate clips that look great when static, but fall apart the moment you start walking. So why does OpenGate behave like this? First, stabilization. Normal 4K video on the iPhone leaves extra pixels around the frame, so the software can nudge the image around and smooth your movement. When you go OpenGate, you're already using nearly the whole sensor, so there's far less room for that digital stabilization to work, and some apps simply disable it entirely in this mode. Second, rolling shutter. The sensor is read line by line. When you ask it to read more lines, the full 4:3 frame, instead of a cropped 16:9, the scan takes longer, so any quick movement bends vertical lines into that jelly-like wobble. Third, noise and denoising. Many OpenGate implementations keep the image more raw, which sounds great, but in practice means less aggressive noise reduction. Even outdoors, you can see a grainier sky and noisier shadows compared to the regular video modes. Does that mean OpenGate is useless? Not at all. For tripod shots, locked-off frames, talking heads where you're not walking, it can look beautiful, especially if you're delivering to multiple aspect ratios or you want maximum control in grading. But for everyday walking B-roll, travel videos, vlog-style content, OpenGate is fighting physics and phone processing instead of helping you. So here's what we recommend if you just want great-looking, stable iPhone video without babysitting your footage. Step 1. Skip OpenGate for walking shots. Use standard 4K 16:9 video. Keep iPhone stabilization on, and then add a physical gimbal if you want extra smoothness. Step 2. Choose the right codec. If you're editing on a computer and storage allows, ProRes is fantastic. But for most people, HEVCH265 at the highest bitrate is the sweet spot. Small files, 10-bit color, and very solid quality. In the Blackmagic camera app, that's the max bitrate option, up to around 54 megabits per second in 4K, which already looks better than the stock app's default compression. Step 3. Shoot in log when you can. In 16:9, apps like Blackmagic let you use Apple Log or their own log profile with HEVC Max. That gives you much nicer highlight roll-off and shadows than straight Rec 709, and unlike OpenGate on our 16 Pro, you still keep stabilization and denoising. Step 4. Control your shutter with ND. Use that ND filter to keep your shutter near double your frame rate, 25 frames per second, about 1 per 50, 30 frames per second, about 1/60,000th. This is what makes motion look natural when you're walking. Just remember not to crank the variable ND so far that the X pattern appears. That's your warning you've gone too far. With this combination, 4K 16:9, stabilization on, HEVC Max or ProRes, log if available, and a good ND, the iPhone finally behaves like a tiny cinema camera that's still easy to use. To sum it up, OpenGate on the iPhone is not broken, it's just very specialized. For walking, travel, and vlog-style videos, it usually gives you more shake, more wobble, and more noise, even on a gimbal. For most people, normal 4K 16:9 with stabilization on, plus a simple ND and maybe a gimbal, will look better and be much easier to work with. We'll still use OpenGate for tripod shots and for projects where we really need to reframe for multiple aspect ratios. But for everyday YouTube and travel content, this traditional setup simply wins. If you found this helpful, Let us know in the comments what iPhone and app you're using, because we'd love to test more combinations. And if you enjoy real-world travel and camera tests like this, hit like, subscribe, and check the links below for our walking tours and gear list. Thanks for watching. And remember, if your iPhone footage is shaky and noisy, it might just be the wrong mode.